think that's what I'm most excited about is the chance to continue to have the good, steady, solid growth that we've experienced for decades in a well-managed way that helps us keep those roots, keep that heritage that we have, but also bring those amenities that those of us who live, work, and play here want.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Shawn Barigar, the President and CEO of the Twin Falls Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for hanging out with us for a minute. So first of all, I want to talk about the Twin Falls Chamber, and it's something you've been a part of for quite a while. How many years now?
16 years, over 16 years.
Very cool. So what are the things that are happening now in the city and in the valley that you're most excited about?
So I grew up in the valley too. I'm actually a fifth-generation native of the area. So I remember coming over in high school to Twin Falls from Buell and cruising on Blue Lakes, and you hit hayfields about Falls Avenue. So that was probably more years ago than I would like to think. But
Sure.
we've seen good, solid, steady growth in Twin Falls for a number of years and throughout the Magic Valley. Retail development, people moving here. Job creation with good base industries based in our agricultural heritage. It feels like it's been accelerated the last 10 or 15 years. Frankly, I think it's because I've paid more attention. I think this was happening a lot. I also don't think it's quite as fast as people fear it to be. And I use the word fear because there is some trepidation about change.
For sure.
We see good, solid 1%, 2%, 3% growth on an annual basis. That probably is a little quicker this last couple of years, particularly with the COVID migration that we've seen from some of the larger communities looking for more rural areas. But I think that's what I'm most excited about is the chance to continue to have the good, steady, solid growth that we've experienced for decades in a well-managed way that helps us keep those roots, keep that heritage that we have, but also bring those amenities that those of us who live, work, and play here want.
Exactly. I'm curious about you personally. You talked about the 16 years with the chamber, city council, mayor also. Over the years, one thing I've noticed with leaders in particular, there's usually a strong why they do what they do. So for you, why the public service and why do you do what you do?
My why actually makes me emotional because my why is I want this place to be where my kids might want to stay. And I think that's why all leaders should be in leader positions. It's about making your community a better place than what was given to you. But you're going to give it to somebody else someday. And so it's not for personal aggrandization, and I'm not looking for glory. I just want it to be the kind of place that my kids might want to stick around in, whether they stay now or come back.
Yeah.
We need good people who will continue to be here because you can't just put a pause in. You have to be moving forward.
Now, about the last 18 months have been very interesting, to say the least, and not just here, but all around the world, right? And I know that affected you guys a lot, with local businesses and how you were able to serve, as the chamber and serve those local businesses. I don't know. I kind of believe that out of any difficulty, there's a silver lining. Did you find a silver lining from the last 18 months? Any positives that came out of that whole ordeal that we're still coming out of?
So I adopted a phrase early on in the pandemic of don't let a good crisis pass you by. So certainly we as an organization had our struggles. We have 3 revenue streams: events, the visitor center, and dues. We couldn't hold events because you couldn't have gatherings. Visitor center was closed for 2 months because we were in a stay-at-home order. And dues are a pretty low priority for a business that can't be open.
Mm.
So there were a couple of pretty dark months there that we questioned, how are we going to function moving forward as an organization that touts itself for bringing people together when we have to stay apart.
Mm.
And within about 2 weeks, we turned to social media, we turned to email communication, we got on the phone and called members. We just reached out and said, what's going on? How can we help? I actually think it strengthened our bonds that we have as an organization. I think it strengthened our bonds as a community in spite of how the issue became politicized. I still think we're stronger as a community and came together where we could, understanding we have differences.
Mm-hmm.
And we've tried to continue to build on that. So we're trying to see the things that are changing in our world, the new normals, and adapt to that. I think adaptability was the key for success this last year, and folks who decided to just dig their heels in and say, but I don't want a pandemic. Well, I mean, it sort of is what it is, so you got to figure out how to navigate it. And was it perfect? No. Lots of people at all different levels of everything made lots of mistakes. But flexibility and adaptability, I think, is something that we as an organization, and I personally, will embrace more now than I did before.
Great. Yeah, and all those little things like a business after hours, that we tended to take for granted.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure that's a priority on my schedule because it's, you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Right.
When it's taken away from you.
Absolutely.
So,
That was definitely one of the things that I think everyone took away. And the other challenge with the last year was the only thing that was certain was uncertainty. so we'd sort of start rolling open and things were great and looked good, and then it was, whoops, got to roll back again and change things. And trying to make plans 3 months in advance was impossible. We were laughing at the beginning of it. We were saying, it's difficult to know what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone the next monthly business after hours. And people would call us, are we doing the luncheon this month? And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to the office today. So I'm watching the news to see what's happening. So yeah, just there was a lot of uncertainty. But I think what was interesting about it is everybody was in the same boat. Or there was another analogy I heard is everybody was in their own boat, but they were in the same ocean. So it's like we all had this same thing happening to us, and it was your own decisions about how you gonna react to it.
Yeah.
Because if it was cower in your basement and not do anything, well, you know what results you're going to get from that. So,
right.
I look at our restaurant community, for example. Within about 24 hours of the stay-at-home order, white linen sit-down restaurants had turned into takeout and delivery services.
Yep.
And it was like, great. And I think the community rallied around all of those folks. And we have to continue to do that. And I sent a memo out, I don't know, a few days maybe after we had the stay-at-home order to our chamber membership and looked back to our history. So the chamber started in 1905 as the Twin Falls Commercial Club. So I'm thinking, okay, you got stock market crash, you've got the Great Depression, you have world wars, you've got all these things that have happened. And we made it through.
Made it through.
And I think more resilient than we were before. And I think that's the experience we've seen now, is that I think this has made us stronger as an organization, as a community, and I hope people remember those lessons, because I think collectively it's easy to quickly forget the things that we've learned from history.
Absolutely. So don't let a good crisis pass you by.
Don't let a good crisis pass you by.
Cool. Speaking of which, now I want to preface this question with, you can't answer with, it's the people, because I think that's going to be the easy answer, and it might be the right answer, but I want to pinpoint, more in depth on this one. So we hear a lot of people who come in and join the Chamber of Commerce, and they've been part of Chamber of Commerce's other places. And you hear it all the time that this is the best chamber that they've ever been a part of. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's the people. No, and It is, and I'm going to explain who those people are, because it's not the three of us in the office. It's not the 12 people on our chamber board. It is the 750 plus members and every single one of their thousands of employees. It is the sense of community that exists here and has existed since the time of the Magic Valley becoming the Magic Valley. It's that willingness to help each other, to lend a shoulder to cry on, to show up and buy dinner at your restaurant. It is that sense of community, and that takes the people, but it also takes a history of that. And I think we've had that in this area since the beginning. It was about a group of people getting together and saying, well, here's a high desert full of sagebrush. What if we put that water on it? And doing it together. So I think that togetherness, networking is the buzzword, but it really is just about caring about your neighbor and helping them out when they need it.
You see a lot of different businesses, big and small, of all shapes and sizes, right? But what do you think is the element? And again, you can't say the people.
Okay.
That what is that special something that takes a good company, a good business, and makes it a great business?
Well, it's the people.
You're cheating, Shawn.
It is an entrepreneurial spirit that I think exists in not only people who are from here and have lived here for a long time, but I think that we attract. So let's take base jumping as an example. So we're the only place in the United States that base jumpers can come parachute off a bridge with no permit any day of the year. It is a little bit of that libertarian streak that runs through all of us in Idaho. And I don't mean that in a political sense. It's that general libertarian, I'm going to do what I want to do and nobody's going to bother me, but not in a bad way. And I think that spirit existed in the pioneers who came here in the first place and had this harebrained idea to irrigate 250,000 acres of desert and make it one of the most productive ag regions in the world, to the people who had the vision to make downtown a walkable community, who had the vision to say, hey, this big hole out on the north end of town shouldn't be the place we dump trash. We should make it a recreation area. It's that spirit and that entrepreneurism that I think exists, but also I think that's who we attract. So when we look at large companies, we're maybe working on a recruitment, we consider their values as a company and if they're a good fit for the spirit of the community. We're looking for partners, not just another company to hire some people and do whatever they want. And so I think that exists throughout the Magic Valley, frankly, in the whole state of Idaho. And I think it's why we're successful in economic development, community development, neighborhood building, positive business environment. It's all those things.
Awesome. But it's the people. Well, and so when you say the people too, it's like, the type of people, like you say, that we attract. And I think going back to what you're talking about with maybe a fear of growth, we don't want people necessarily moving in and changing that, right? So the people that are natives, people who have been here a long time, we want to hold on to our roots. We're excited about the growth, but we also want to keep our our values and our small town spirit. I think.
And I think those things can continue to exist. Nobody likes change. Even people who say they like change don't like change. Nobody likes change. I don't like change. It fills you with anxiety. You have to do things differently. It takes effort to navigate through change. But if you navigate well, you have a plan in place. If you're listening to all the voices at the table, you can make that change be positive for everyone. It can be forward thinking, not something that is to be feared.
Shawn, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you for everything that you do for the community and the businesses and the chamber.
I'm just I'm like the janitor. I'm just going around helping do things. It's a great place to live. My wife and I have had opportunities to go elsewhere. We made a commitment to this community because it's a great place to live and play and work. But work is the
that's the third on the
yeah. So again, thank you and thanks for all that you guys do. And helping to celebrate the collective success that we all have.
All right. Yeah, a pleasure. Thanks. Appreciate it.
You bet.